Listen, you know, we have these conversations and I feel like the most lucky and blessed person on earth because they're always so interesting and it's just the stuff that we need to know. So let's talk about it, ladies and gents. Hair, Afro hair, right? It's our texture and it's one of the most common textures around the world, but it comes with such diversity. Even if you say you have natural hair, there's such different needs and diverse types within that category. So our next guest is a hair enthusiast who has created a business from her love for natural hair. Sihle Davids is an entrepreneur and natural hair and skin influencer. And she joins us now to talk about Afro care, natural hair, and some of the ways that we can better look after our hair. Really, Sihle, I'm sure the big question is, how can we get hair like yours? How can we do what you do?
Thank you for having me on the show
Lovely
today.
to see you.
So it's a mixture of genetics, routine, and great products. A lot of people ask me, like, how can I get your hair? And I said, you should always strive for the best version of your hair, as opposed to looking at mine, because our hair is different. You know, there are different things that have affected the way your hair grows, you know, your different backgrounds, you know, it all affects the way your hair comes out. So don't aspire to have my hair, have the best version of yours.
And I think that that's so important to say, because if we're talking about like changing the way our outlook is, right? It is about this idea that for years and years, some other concept of beauty was put on us as Black people, Black women especially. So, you know, we haven't really got to terms with what we are about. And so that's exactly it. What can your hair and your hair follicles best achieve, right? Okay, so once you've been able to accept that and you've been relaxing your whole life, chemicals, where is the best place to start? Or perhaps I'll ask it this way. In your hair journey, did you have to go from chemical to then, you know,
to Afro.
Transitioning?
So my first advice is do research. So there's people like me that create content online, and we're in such an amazing time in South Africa where there's lots of South African content creators. Go and watch their videos, research, do your reading, just get the basics of the routines and routines that you need to follow. There's certain things like the way you apply your products that can be super helpful. For me, when I transitioned, so I didn't cut off my hair and start from scratch. I first let out the chemically processed hair grow out, and then I cut my hair.
So you had that half-half.
Yeah, so I had that half-half, but I had the ammunition of the research that I had done, which made it so much easier for me to kind of move into this Afro hairstyle.
Why did you decide to move into Afro?
Many things. I think part of the reason, like you said, the beauty norms that we were told that our hair looks X, Y, Z, you know, and I was like, you know what? This is my hair as I was birthed. Let me embrace it. Let me learn it. And I just wanted to do something for myself that made me celebrate and appreciate everything that I've been given. And I was like, you know what? Let me just rock my Afro in its natural state, learn more about it so I can present it to the world in its best version, you know? So it was just about self-love.
Power to you. There is a critique, though, of the natural hair movement where it's more about that loose curl. I don't know what the 4C, 4B, 4, I don't know what that is necessarily, but rather than, as Lil Wayne said, tougher than Nigerian, which I have, right? That very tight, coily curl. There's that critique that, you know, there's one thing that's still being placed as the better hair to have. What's your opinion on that?
I think it's important that we take ownership of the narrative around hair, and that's why a lot of women like you and I, because we have similar hair types, have decided that we're going to create content. So we get more representation online so that people can see, like, this is what your hair looks like, and it doesn't, if you nourish it and if you maintain it and you do all the things that you would need to do to make it flourish, then you'll get it at a state where you probably love it the most. And that's what we're talking about online. It's not about what everybody posts in magazines, that your hair should look X. It's about like how you feel you want your hair to look, and seeing other people that look similar to you. So representation, I think, is also very important.
100%. And there's a little bit of politics in being able to carry our hair. I tell this story often about how there was a beauty campaign I was invited to come and do, and they said, but we'd like to, you know, you're a bit rough. Can you just, like, you're a bit, can we put a, and I said, no. And for that reason, you know, because I had that platform, because I was now going to be in that magazine, that representation, I see the shift in younger ladies around. So it's quite important from a self-loving point of view. It's not a leave the weave campaign. It's from a self-loving point of view.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the business of black hair.
Okay.
It's something like 9.7 billion per year that's made from products, from hair. I mean, it really has reshaped how business is done in Africa. But a lot of this business is not black owned or even Africa wide owned. What are some of the opinions swirling around the black business of hair in Africa?
So I think it's similar to our conversation around representation.
Yeah.
It's about people taking, or people of color taking it upon themselves to create the products, and they want products that are made by them, that are for them. So there are a lot of women in South Africa that have created their own products, their own brands. I mean, I've made my own hair accessories, and rather than waiting for somebody to bring stuff into the market, we're taking ownership and doing it for ourselves. So I love that.
So tell me about the hair accessories that you've created.
So when you have Afro hair, and generally with all types of hair,
Right.
satin is probably the best thing for it when you're sleeping, because cotton creates friction. So your standard pillow is actually not good for your hair. So when I started my Afro journey, there was like no satin products.
Yeah.
So I decided, let me just make them for myself.
Brilliant.
So I started making satin pillowcases, and I've moved on to create head wraps, headbands, like anything that you think of, I've
Stunning.
made. Yeah. So
Stunning.
you just have to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
And the representation won't be there unless you start the conversation. So that's what we're doing.
So are we going to talk about routines?
Let's.
Okay, let's talk about routines. Would a routine be the same for someone with the length that you have versus someone with the length that I have?
So that's why it's important for you to do the research. And then while you're doing the research, you're obviously going to start experimenting, and you'll play around with what works for your hair.
Okay.
But length doesn't necessarily alter the routine.
Got it.
It might kind of change a few things. But as an example, when I apply hair products, I use the LCO method, which represents...
What's that?
It basically represents the order in which you apply your products.
Got it.
It's a leave-in conditioner, a cream, and an oil. And that will help you retain the moisture so that your hair experiences less dryness. So especially if you're living in Joburg, climate is very dry. So LCO method.
You are saying revolutionary things, Sihle. You really are. So we must say it slowly. So LCO, first it's the leave-in conditioner.
Yes, yeah.
Then the
Cream.
cream.
Yeah, so it can be a curling cream, any kind of cream.
Okay, and then the oil.
Yes.
And the oil locks in those other
Yes,
two into.
exactly.
Because I'll tell you,
Yeah.
and you base the scalp.
Ooh, we come from far, hey?
Yes, of course, of course. You base the scalp, and then hair food, hair food, hair food. So hair food would fall under oil, or hair food must go.
Let me be honest with you, I don't use hair food anymore.
Right.
I know that there are some Afro ladies that do. It all kind of depends on you, as I said. Like, depends on your journey. I prefer to use the LCO method because it leaves less buildup on my scalp.
Oh, I
and you want your scalp to be breathing and, you know, getting that air so that it can be at its healthiest. And the healthier your hair is, the healthier your scalp is, the healthier your hair is.
So we're not basing scalps anymore?
I mean, you can. There's no rule that says you shouldn't. I know some people do, but for me personally, and it's, again, personalizing your experience, I don't do that.
So it's worth it to experiment and try to find something. When we talk about a leave-in conditioner, what exactly should we be looking for in what's compatible to our hair?
So first, look for products that are made for your skin type.
Of course.
So that, I think, start off with that. And then look for products that are sulfate-free. That there's a lot of labels on the packaging of these bottles. So sulfate-free, paraben-free, mineral-free, those kinds of things. But generally, products that are made for us don't have those. So yeah, just stay in your lane.
So that's that's the conditioner, and then the cream. What is that?
So the cream, it can be a curling cream. So the curling cream basically just activates your coils so that they have more definition. So despite the fact that you might think that your hair is like fuzzy or whatever, you have a pattern. You have a curl pattern, and the curling cream helps to elevate that or bring it out more, bring it out stronger. So I recommend using a curling cream. And then the oil is a sealant, and I recommend using a lighter oil. So a lot of people use castor oil.
Yeah.
Castor oil is really great for sealing in your ends, but it can weigh down your hair. It can make it quite heavy, and then might cause breakage, or it might cause unnecessary buildup again. So I prefer grapeseed oil, olive oil, things that are a little bit lighter. But again, my hair routine is personalized.
Yes, I understand.
So
what the understanding that I'm getting from you is that there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach, but there's a lot of information.
Yes.
And you're going to have to build a relationship with your hair like you would with your partner, like you would with anyone else.
Like the gym as well.
Like the gym. Yeah. You're going to have to really experiment and alter and see what's what with your hair.
Yeah.
What about combs? Combing, brushing.
Just ripping out your hair.
Exactly.
So a lot of people ask me, like, how do you grow your hair? And I say, don't focus on growth, focus on length retention.
Okay.
So how you're going to get that length retention is if you're gentle on your hair. So those tools that you use, like combs and brushes, can be detrimental to your hair growth if you don't use them the right way.
Right.
While your length retention. So,
exactly.
So you need to use things like a wide tooth comb. Wide tooth comb is more gentle on your coils, a detangling brush, those types of things. So they're available at like leading retailers, but your fingers are also just as great. So I mainly use my fingers, and then if I'm trying to plump up the volume of my hair, then I'll use a wide tooth comb, or I'll go to an Afro comb, but I'm very gentle.
Right.
So when you're combing, try to comb from your ends to your roots, because your ends are probably the most sensitive, and that's where you probably get the most breakage, and then you lose that length retention.
And then people talk about trimming your edges, trimming your ends.
Your ends, yeah.
Are we supposed to do that?
Yes, you have to trim your ends, because after time, your ends get a little bit frayed because they've been exposed to the air and they've lost a bit of moisture. And I find that when I trim my ends, my hair just flourishes more because it's healthier. Because if your ends are split or they're damaged, they split like this, and then it creates this kind of pattern. So your hair will split through the middle. Breaks, so you cut it off before it gets to the point where it starts eating your length.
Yeah, that is a revolutionary thing for me. I don't think I've ever cut a split end in my whole life. So now that I've learned this from Sihle, my hair's going to look like this in what, 6, 9, 12 months. It could look like that. Listen, we're keeping you here for another segment. So can we ask our viewers to send in some questions?
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So you can send them some voice notes questions if you have questions about your own hair, starting your natural hair journey from scratch. Maybe you want to ask questions about what to do for your children's hair, because I know that becomes quite a contentious issue in our homes, what products you can use. And then we're going to talk about this, why honale narkisi and rice water on the table. What is that about? So let us know what your questions are on the voice note line that is on your screen right now. We'll be right back. So we are still here with Sihle Davids, who is going to tell us all about what some of the hair care tips and tricks are. You can send your voice notes in for us, and we'll see if we can answer some of your questions live here on the morning show on E! Okay, so let's talk about some of these things, because we hear about the rice water that you're supposed to wash your hair with. What does that do? Is it fact or fallacy?
So first off, I just want to say that a lot of people think that Afro hair is expensive. It's not. You can create solutions for your hair in the kitchen, and that is what things like rice water is for. So rice water is great for helping you retain length, because it's basically a natural protein treatment. And you need protein to restore the protein bonds in your hair to help your hair retain that length and grow.
So how would you do a rice water treatment?
So there's many ways you can do it. So if you're cooking Sunday lunch and you've got some of that leftover rice water left,
Yes.
you know when you rinse out the rice?
Yes, of course.
You can use that as your treatment.
All right.
Yeah, but for the purists, I've got some ingredients here on the table. We've got some rice. So any kind of rice.
Yeah, I was about to say brown rice, white rice, jasmine, long.
Any rice. Just grab rice from the cupboard.
Right.
And then grab 1 part of rice, 2 parts of water, and let it soak for a couple of days.
Okay.
The standard recommendation is 4 or 5 days.
Okay.
And the idea is that you're fermenting the water, and the rice is releasing antioxidants, aminos, and all that good stuff into the water. And then you're going to apply that into your hair using a spray bottle, right?
Okay, so then you'll decant the water into a spray bottle.
Yeah.
Got it.
So
spray bottles, by the way, have many. If you've got natural hair, have many spray bottles. They are so invaluable. Yeah.
So important.
Yeah.
So here's my concoction that I prepared.
Okay.
And you'll notice that the water becomes starchy.
Yes.
So it's become a bit cloudy. So I'll decant this into my spray bottle.
Right.
But as I mentioned, it ferments. So fermenting sometimes might have a tricky smell.
I was about to say.
So this is what the nachi's for, and the orange peels.
I love it.
So you can pop a few peels into the water to kind of squash the smell.
Yes.
And you can add other things like your essential oils, like lavender, tea
Yes.
tree, all those things. They're very great for your hair. And that is an easy
How often
solution.
should you do that?
Protein treatments once a month.
Okay.
And if your hair is protein sensitive, so you'll know if your hair is protein sensitive.
How are you going to know that?
If you apply rice water on your hair and you feel like your hair is freaking out, you know,
Okay.
it's becoming a little bit, well, not a little bit, it's becoming extra dry.
Dry, coarse.
Then, yeah, it's becoming coarse,
Sure.
or just like it's wrapping around itself in a way that's causing tangles. Then maybe look at doing it every 6 weeks.
Okay.
And don't let it ferment as long. So maybe do 2 days instead of 4 days.
Got it.
Yeah, so things like that.
Quickly, washing your hair.
Yes.
I was told when I had my cheesecop and I wanted to grow hair, wash your hair every single day, twice a day, wash, your hair will grow. Fact or fallacy?
Water. It's not about the washing the hair, it's about exposing your hair to water.
Okay.
So water is great water makes things grow. It makes plants grow, it's good for your body. So the water exposure is the thing that's nourishing your hair so that it can grow.
So co-wash.
Co-wash is great for people that experience dryness. Like if you feel like your hair is like super dry, so you and I, we've got the same type hair, so our hair gets drier faster, it loses moisture faster. So I use a co-wash more regularly than I'd use a conventional shampoo.
Right.
And a co-wash is basically a conditioner wash. It has less of the foam that is known to strip away that moisture.
Do you need to rinse the co-wash out completely?
Yes.
Okay. I was thinking that the other day that it still is a shampoo, basically.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is still a shampoo, but it's mixed with conditioner.
Okay.
But read the instructions on your products. There's a reason why they're instructed that way, because the people that formulated these products have tested them out.
Got it.
And they want to recommend the best possible routine for you.
All right,
you know?
Stunning. Let's get into some of your voice notes. What do you want to know about your natural hair care journey? We have entrepreneur and natural hair care expert. She says she's the poster child now for our kind of hair. Sisha Davids is here. All right, so question number 1. Let's go.
Morning, ladies. Kinandlela kutomo River Northwest. Yo, Aisha. I've been trying the Afro treatment in. It's been a year. Kayone rice water ma dololo, and I've been applying it daily.
Wow. So what do you have to say to that? After so long, dololo.
So again, you have to experiment, and a lot of people are scared to experiment. They think, okay, look, I bought this one product and it should work for me, you know. But experiment, try different products, watch content creators' stuff, as I mentioned, and they could recommend something that you can try next. But for me, I've learned that if my hair is not moving or I feel like it's not flourishing, I've got to change things up a bit.
Okay.
But my recommendation is make sure you're doing a protein treatment once a month.
Okay.
Make sure you're doing moisture treatments regularly, and make sure you're following a good routine. So that LCO method, It's number one. So a lot of people neglect that.
Good luck. Please call back later, even if we're not talking about hair one day, and tell us that you shifted what you do to your hair and it actually worked. We'd love to know. Here's another voice note.
Hi, my name is Taba Emma. I want to ask about my kids' hair. It's not growing fast, and got a lot of scalp. What product can I use?
So the hair's not growing, and I suppose there are patches where it doesn't go here.
So I know a lot of parents struggle with that in the beginning, and my recommendation is the satin pillowcases, because when your baby's sleeping, baby's moving around a lot, and it's causing friction on their hair, and that friction is causing dryness, and the hair's probably falling out. And I know sometimes children pull out their hair, right? So there's things that you can do. A lot of people sell turbans, like I do, to help protect baby's hair when they're sleeping. But again, if you're not looking to expose your child to products, there's natural products that you can enlist, like shea butter. Shea butter is available in a number of health stores. You can apply shea butter to baby's hair, coconut oil, olive oil, those things. I know some of my friends used almond oil.
Right,
it's also great on baby's hair. But when you're washing baby's hair, just put a little bit of oil on the hair afterwards, and that should help.
Okay, and it's a journey.
Yeah, it is a journey. Yeah.
Especially with the little one. You're learning what their hair type is, what they respond to, etc.
Exactly.
All right, my darling. So where do we follow you? How do we order some of your products? Where can we learn?
So I'm on Instagram, all things by Sihle, and my website is www.allthingsbysihle.com. So
All things by Sihle.
all things everywhere: Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I'm there.
Stunning. Well, listen, it was so enlightening getting to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
That is Sihle Davids. We're talking all things hair on the morning show on E!